in, Iowa Hawkeye fans, to another episode of the Hawkeye Tailgate Report. I'm Luke Myers. We have Joey and Stin here. It has been about 2 months since we last recorded. Part of that is our fault, but also we had an equipment failure that put us out for about a month. So, yeah.
We had an equipment failure and an athletic failure on the football team's behalf that kind of just...
Well, Joey might not. He had to leave a little early.
I was there, but was I?
Joey was there in body, not mind.
Yeah, so we got our asses absolutely beat in the Big Ten Championship game, but still better to be there than to not be there. Still a fun trip for us and a bunch of other Iowa Hawkeye fans. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, the bar scene in Indianapolis is pretty fun. What was that place we were at where there was like 5 different levels?
Dolly, Taps, and...
I don't know. And it was a great time.
Yeah. Good spots, good restaurants.
Good Hooters.
I feel safe when I'm there.
Shout out to Chastity.
What? Yeah, that was her name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Appetizers were banging there. But outside of that, the game absolutely disappointed us. Yeah, we don't have to talk about it.
People are like... they don't try to like say we could win, but they're like, man, that game could have gone a whole lot different if we hit that past the pot bomb. It's like that drive might have gone a little different, but the game was not going much different.
Yeah, Shudak missed a field goal. I mean, nothing went right.
That was on the first possession too. That just set the tone for the rest of the game. And then they hit 2 trick plays on us, and it was just downhill really fucking fast from there.
Yeah, and then lucky enough to get to play Kentucky in the Citrus Bowl, and again for 3.5 quarters, Brian Ferentz sat there with his thumb up his ass and called the worst game. Well, not his worst game, clearly, but it was a bad game still. And we ended up losing on the final drive of the game after coming back to take the lead. Wrapping up that terrific end of a football season.
Yeah, the season ended the way that it went the entire time. Our offense being just entirely incompetent, and our defense trying their absolute hardest to not allow the offense to let us lose. So, I don't know. It was the same shit, different day for the whole season. You can't be disappointed with 10 wins, but at the same point in time, you can certainly be disappointed about this season because, I mean, Jesus Christ, our offense is such a fucking joke. It's unreal.
Yeah, people after the bowl game were like, oh, Brian called an all right game. We scored 2 offensive touchdowns. There's no way that should be your mentality when you score 2 touchdowns in a game.
A giant step forward for our offense.
Okay, but what do we have, 17 points? Like, that should not be like the benchmark for a good offensive performance. 17 points in today's college football. Like, if you're not scoring at least 25 points a game, what the hell are you doing?
My one takeaway from that game comes from Twitter, and that's that we win if Kentucky's not taking dives, like Penn State.
They did take a couple dives.
That number one, was the number 1, that wide receiver that absolutely roasted us?
Wandale. Yeah, everybody fucking knew that was going to happen.
Toasted
a good wide receiver coming in against Iowa?
A good wide receiver playing against Iowa who also has a grudge against Iowa because he used to play at Nebraska. No way that guy has like 2 touchdowns and 200 yards.
We somehow have like world-class defensive backs, and they just get torched against guys like that.
Yeah, and then like everything we do right usually went wrong. Like we fumbled a QB sneak.
Yeah.
Like it was just...
Also, Kirk played some absolute chicken shit football at the end of the game instead of just going for it on 4th and 1. And then we tried to draw him off sides, which is probably the worst play in sports. That never ever is successful, and then we just burned a timeout that we could have used at the end of the game. So
if somebody jumps off sides on that, they should be cut from the team immediately. Like, my happy ass would much rather stand there and be 3 seconds late off the snap call than fucking jump off sides and give him an automatic first down.
I don't know. I think your coaches are going to be pretty upset with you if you don't move until 3 seconds after the snap.
Well, sure, but I'm not jumping off sides.
I also ordered Wingstop in the first quarter of that game, and it didn't show up until the third quarter. Now, there was a snowstorm going on, but they also forgot like a third of my order, so it was rough.
Did you get your money back?
No, I'm not one to complain.
Joey just was mad to me about it, but then didn't do anything to actually resolve it.
They could have brought me the entirely wrong thing, and I would have just ate it.
So are we? Do we still support Wingstop on this?
We stand Wingstop. Their mango habanero wings are unmatched.
They are way better than B-Dubs Mango Habanero.
Yeah, I don't know. I still do like B-Dubs.
Not the Iowa City one.
Yeah, and then I guess we could talk about the players that announced they were coming back after. A few surprises, actually. Charlie Jones, Riley Moss, Sam Laporta. Am I missing any? Jack Campbell.
I think that's kind of it for notable people that are coming back.
Hankins and Lindy left, right? Feels like next year could be one of those things where we do it every year. We're going to be like, can you just imagine how we would have been if we had Linderbaum and Hankins?
Oh my God, I hate playing that what if game.
We do it every year, though.
In
I'm
every
sure you
sport.
said something about it.
I think that it'll be more of a what if with Linderbaum, not Hankins. Not that Hankins wasn't really good, because he was, but we are so good at defensive back currently that I'm not too worried. Terry Roberts is just going to step into that starting role and will be just as fine. And then Dane Belton left also, but then Xavier is just going to come in and probably start right away at the cash position. So I'm not really worried about anything on the defensive side of the ball. It's, our offense was god-awful to begin with, and now we're losing, quite possibly the best offensive lineman that's, ever been in the program. So that's the more concerning aspect.
We also had Harris get way better as the year went along at corner, too, because he sucked early. He wasn't
He was
good
young.
early. Yeah, I know, but he still sucked early.
Did we mention Kerner?
Gone.
Did he? I don't think he had an extra year available to him anyway, did he?
I think he did, because I feel like there was an announcement
I thought
there.
this year was his COVID year.
I don't know.
Well, either way.
You want to know my favorite Iowa departure?
No, let me guess. Is it a player?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's Tyler Goodson.
No, Ivory Kelly Martin.
Oh.
Him saying he's going to try the waters for the NFL draft got me cracking up a little bit.
I mean, I don't have anything against him.
Me either.
He
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
but that's just
put
hilarious.
He put his body on the line for the team for 5 years. Gave it his all. It's not like he never badmouthed the program or didn't I don't know.
No, I'm not judging him the person. I'm judging him the player. Because the player fumbled to touch ratio was insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Maybe the blockers should have done a better job. Let some of the guys get to him.
That's no.
That's not it. Yeah,
that's
I
not
stand
it.
Ivory Kelly Martin.
So do I. But that's an interesting take.
Can you can confirm that if nobody touched him, he wouldn't have fumbled, right?
Okay, but you're all once you get to the second level, it's not the blockers that are he wasn't fumbling it behind the line of scrimmage.
I got you, Ivory.
So how do we feel about Goody leaving?
You know what? After watching the bowl game, feel pretty good about it. Those running backs looked like studs, and I've said all along that I thought Goodson was overrated, and I think that may have shown in the bowl game when those running backs came in and those running backs are downhill runners. What are their names? I don't even remember the names.
Gavin Williams and LaShawn Williams.
Yeah, the Williams bros.
Not brothers.
They're going to be referred to as the Williams brothers. They see a hole and they hit it. They don't do the song and dance like Goodson does, and I'm more of a fan of that style of running. And I think that's more Iowa's style of running.
Yeah, I also think that our offensive line play was just better towards the end of the year because we had a lot of inexperience. But yeah, I think I do get the point where Goodson kind of danced around too much sometimes instead of just hitting a hole. But I don't know.
I like Goodson. There's nothing personal against him. I think he could be a exceptional NFL talent. I don't know what he'd be doing, but I'm not heartbroken to see him go.
I think it's more so also just because we saw that we're set up pretty well at the running back position moving forward, so his loss isn't that. It doesn't feel that big because there's capable people that we already know of behind him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still Tyler Goodson. I mean, he's still our first 1,000-yard rusher in a while. He's still very explosive. His style was too patient.
I think he could be a good slot receiver in the NFL.
It's an interesting
I
opinion.
I don't see him ever being a star running back.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Or a third down swing. You get him the ball out in space, on a pass behind the line of scrimmage, he can make something of it.
But other than that, I don't think we have any departures or returners. Unfortunately, Brian has not been fired yet. Kirk got an extension through 2028, right?
27, I thought.
But now
I
he's
don't
making
know.
$7 million a year. He's getting that big boy money.
Yeah, and just remember that's all your taxpayer dollars.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Kirk Ferentz.
People are dumb.
Oh,
Yeah.
so stupid.
I was just talking to Dad about that this morning, and this like people on Facebook and like Twitter are so uneducated about everything, and it's always the most vocal ones that have no idea what they're talking about. And like you read the comments on the Kirk Ferentz stuff, it's like you can automatically just ignore 95% of what's being said.
And I'm sorry, but he's also donated like $1 million to the hospital. And people who say that's
way-
a write-off.
way more than
Fuck
$1 million, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And plus, that doesn't even count the other generous stuff they do in the community.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so my thing with like players and coaches, not players in college, but like in the NFL and stuff like that, making a bunch of money and people complaining about them making too much money. If you made as much money for, like, say, the university as Kirk Ferentz does, you would expect to be paid a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the football team makes a lot of money for the university. It funds all the other athletics.
Yeah. And also, so like those people, that'll complain about athletes and coaches making too much money because it's playing a sport. Those athletes and coaches are at the tippy top, like 0.0011, like percent of whatever they do. If you were that good at whatever you did in your profession, you would also be making like millions of dollars to do it, but you're not. Like they are at the very peak of like the food chain in that like profession. So yes, they get paid a lot of money to do that because they're the best people in the world at doing that.
Almost everybody on our coaching staff is the best at their profession.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But, oh, shit, I was going to say something off of Kirk. Oh, yeah, but, like, a lot of the people complaining about how much he's getting paid on Twitter are the people, like, I've seen some, like, University of Iowa professors complaining, oh, I only make this much money, and, well...
What do you bring into the university? Like...
Not like millions and millions of dollars. That's what you're not
Stupid
bringing.
attendance policies is all you bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me started on attendance policies in college.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that you've had the same syllabus for the last 20 years of you being a teacher?
Oh, you mean I'm paying thousands upon thousands of dollars to I'm literally paying that to come to class, and you're going to tell me I have to be here? No, I'm paying. I can decide.
I pay your salary. I can do what I want.
Listen to me.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain. All right. Enough football talk?
Plenty of football talk.
And a sad end of the season. Started so promising.
We can talk about the Hawks in the NFL that are still remaining today.
George Kittle.
We got Greg. We got
Just go by roster.
Neiman, Hitchens.
Yeah. Anybody on the Bengals?
I don't think there's any
I don't
Bengals.
think so.
The 49ers got
Kittle.
Is there a lineman for the Rams? Didn't
Blythe used to.
I don't think
but
that
he's not there
I
anymore.
don't think he
No.
plays
Alaric
with them anymore.
Jackson.
Alaric Jackson plays for the Rams. I don't know if he
Yeah.
plays
I think
right
he's
now.
just on their practice squad.
He rotated in a few
Yeah, he
games
played a
ago.
couple times. I don't know if he
'cause
still
somebody got
does.
hurt. But yeah, NFL playoffs still cooking. 2 teams go to the Super Bowl today. Who we
Go
hoping
Bengals,
for.
Hoo Day Nation.
Yeah, Bengals.
Shout out
and,
Watuus.
Bengals and Niners. Let's go.
I'm going Chiefs Niners.
I just can't cheer for the Chiefs. Just fatigue.
Yeah, I get it. I don't have anything against. I don't know. I'm not a Chiefs fan, but my sister's boyfriend, shout out Jonah, not from the Berg.
Not from the bag.
Not from the bag. He's a big Chiefs fan, so I'll just I'll be a Chiefs fan for him.
And
I
I
suppose.
don't dislike the Chiefs.
No, I like all their players. I like different stuff.
You just get fatigued, but I don't know. Like they're just fun to watch. Like how it's tough to dislike Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce, I can see how you could maybe dislike him.
Yeah, I think he's
kind of full of himself a lot. But I don't know. They just have fun people on their team. Andy Reid, you can't hate that guy.
It's unreal. No, I would say no team in the history of the NFL can go 50 yards in 13 seconds.
We all
know
the Cowboys can't.
they can't go 20
yeah,
yards.
that's because they ran the Galaxy Brain play of a QB draw with no timeouts.
Yeah.
That is just some of the dumbest shit of all time.
Yeah. Shout out Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore. But yeah, that's about it, I believe. All pro teams came out for the NFL. Tristan Wirfs was on that.
Tom Brady's best friend.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Wirfs. He got a solid 2 first years here. Going to block for Tom Brady and winning a Super Bowl all pro.
Clinging on hope for the third.
Yeah, there were 3 tackles taken before him in that year's NFL draft because there was questions about his athleticism. The motherfucker can jump out of a pool from like 3 foot deep. Like, I don't know how deep it was, but like, that's all. If you see that and you're still questioning a guy's athleticism, I don't know what the hell what you're looking at.
Also, there was like multiple videos from his college days of him in the weight room just doing absurd things.
He literally set Iowa program records.
Yeah, he holds the Iowa hang clean record. Everybody has that. Seen that video. Absolute monster, future Hall of Famer. I'll say it. I feel that's not too early to say.
I would.
It's presumptuous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's a whole lot of things that could come into play there.
Yeah.
Injuries.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But
decline,
I mean, I've been hearing people say Burrow's a future Hall of Famer. Like, what are we doing? They're the same pace.
I think there's probably about 9 or 10 quarterbacks under the age of 25 right now that have the potential to be future Hall of Famers.
Yeah, it's crazy that like we just went through an era of the NFL where we had like both of the Mannings, Roethlisberger, Drew Brees,
Phillip Rivers,
Tom Brady, maybe. Like we just had all of those guys, like all-time greats that are now retiring, and now the league is full of like fucking Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Like it's crazy how good quarterback talent has been in the NFL for like the last 25 years.
Yeah. Absurd.
All right. So we're going to transition to some basketball chatter here. And would you like to start? We got a few questions from our friend Trent Betts.
Oh, would love to entertain Trent Betts'
good fan
questions.
Of the program.
Yeah. First question, are you suicidal after the Purdue L on your home floor? No.
Listen, no, that was 100% expected, Trent Betts.
Yeah.
We should not have, we had no business being that close with them the first time, but and now the second time, once a year, a random dude goes off against us that plays for Purdue. And what was this guy's name this time? He had like no stats before the Iowa game.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. He had shot like 6
the white
threes
guy?
all year. No, it wasn't Stefanovic.
No, the other white guy.
Yeah, I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
But in answer to the question, no, I'm not suicidal about it because I don't think any real Iowa fan expected to win that game, especially with our recent history against Purdue. They're obviously way better than us. It was like we can still be disappointed about how it went, especially because like the same bullshit that makes us lose all the time made us lose, like horrible 3-point defense, like not great rebounding, a stalling offense, like those things we can be mad about, but I think most Iowa fans expected us to lose, so it's one of those where you take the L and you move on.
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling all Iowa fans this for a while now. We're not going to beat any good teams, but we're going to not lose to any bad teams either. We're like the definition of mediocrity this year.
I think we're more likely to lose to a bad team than beat a good team, though.
Yeah.
What do you classify Indiana as?
Same as us.
Same as us? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that our roster makeup is kind of bad this year. Like, Ogundele is a true center, but I don't know if he hasn't developed or if Fran doesn't trust him, or maybe he's just not as good as what people are expecting him to be. Whatever the problem is, he doesn't really play that often. So when Rebracha at 6'9" is your starting center, especially in the Big Ten, like it's just not a sustainable way to have a roster made up. And then like we have guys on the team that straight up cannot shoot. Like if Connor McCaffery, like Tony Perkins, Aaron Eulis, Joe Toussaint get the ball on the 3-point line, teams just don't guard them because they're shooting like 15%. Like that's not a sustainable way to play basketball. And then it impacts Keegan Murray too, because if teams don't respect half of the players that are on the floor from an offensive standpoint, they can just entirely focus in on Keegan and then kind of shut him down as well.
If I see Connor McCaffrey attempt another 3, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. He attempted 3 against Purdue. What? He is I could go out there and shoot better than me and him one-on-one 3-point contest. I'm taking me.
What is that stat that Heidi sent us?
He's made 5.
Yeah, has Connor McCaffrey, who has 5 made baskets and almost 300 total minutes this season.
That's absurd. Like, he cannot keep getting minutes that he does. And I don't know. That's maybe not fair because he does contribute in, like, other aspects of the game. But, like, specifically in the Purdue game, in the second half, we were on a run, cut it down to 4 points, and then Fran substituted in a lineup, and he put in McCaffrey, Perkins, and Ulis. None of those guys can score, and it went from a 4-point game to a 10-point game in, like, 2 minutes, and then it was just kind of over. Like, we have too many non-scoring threats on this roster.
Yeah, and, I mean, then you see Nunji going off at Xavier.
That hurts us a lot, too. And I don't think there's any single person in the Iowa program or fan base that feels any ill will towards him.
No.
But him not being on this year's team is a significant factor, I think.
If you have Nunji and
Racha.
Frederick, if you could get Frederick shot 47% for three. I say what you want about him never being on the floor, but if he was on this team,
yeah. Especially we need 3-point shooting. We're literally last in the Big Ten Conference.
No, but I'm saying he didn't even play a game this year, did he? I think he just got hurt and he's out for the year.
He did, but he doesn't go to Kentucky. He might not get hurt. Whatever. But yeah. But the point is, those you get guys like that who didn't even seem like that great at the time, but like
they're floor spacers. Like there's just like pretty much I think a good true center and legitimate 3-point like threat are what we need because, and I don't know, I think more now than ever Bohannon is like so volatile within the Iowa fan base, and he is like the Big Ten Conference's all-time leading 3-point shooter. So yes, he is always a threat when he steps out there, but he's shooting like 27.5% from three this season. So he's not really doing what he's supposed to be doing on this year's Iowa team, and that hurts us because we are struggling horribly from three, and when we're not hitting threes, teams can pack the paint, and that's where Keegan likes to do most of his damage. So it's a domino effect for the rest of the offense.
And the only... like, outside of the Murray boys, who else would you expect to score? Like, it has to be Bohannon, right?
Well, you would have thought that Perkins could do some scoring, but
Perkins can't shoot.
He can't early shoot. In the year, he looked great. Mm-hmm. He can
still play good defense, and he's good at getting to the hole.
Right, but early in the year, he was making some shots. He was getting to the rack consistently. And that's just...
Yeah, I mean, Patrick McCaffrey's actually played pretty good this year. He's averaging like 10.3 points per game. I know people have feelings about him too, but he's been like our third leading scorer for the whole year. So,
and I like Pat, and I've had one of our cousin's husbands always text me about how he doesn't like him at all. And up until the Purdue game, I'm like, he's all right. He's fine. And then he goes and gets roasted. Like, he just played terrible defense against the 40-year-old virgin, Stefanovic.
Yeah. So did our entire team. And also, I think a big part of that was we had a 6'9" player guarding their 7'4" center. So anytime he touched the ball down low, you had to double or triple him, and that necessarily is going to leave 3-point shooters open on the line. It's not a great excuse because, like, obviously 3-point shooting defense has not been a strong suit for Iowa for a while now, but it was like a pick your poison situation.
Yeah, whatever. That game just sucked in general. But, I mean, we only have 11 games left this season, I think, and we're, 14-6?
I mean, we're 4-5 in the Big Ten right now. We're still projected... as of last look, we're projected as like a 7 seed. Yeah. Our NCAA net ranking is like 27, so that's solidly in the field. We'll probably, I don't know, if we keep winning the games we're supposed to win, we'll make the tournament, but we won't really, I don't see us doing much damage there unless we somehow figure out our 3-point shooting.
The only reason that I even want them to make the tournament is just to get some experience in there, but, I mean, obviously no expectations if they do make the tournament.
Just throwing out here quick. As of right now, we're number 23 in net and number 21 in KenPom.
Yeah, the metrics like Iowa, and I don't know. I think that Iowa probably is a tournament team, but just kind of eye test. You watch them, and you're like, this is a team that's not really going to do damage against opponents that are better than them.
I would love to see Keegan Murray. Like, he was absolutely taking over games in like against the dog shit teams early in the season. He really hasn't done that lately. I think I would love to see him come in. Like, you see Ivy come in for Purdue and just make like, he changes the game. That doesn't really happen with Keegan. And I don't know why. I don't know if he just doesn't have great, like, post moves or killer instincts or what. But, like, he's great. Don't get me wrong. He's super fun to watch, athletic. But I would like to see his ability to come in and just change the game. He comes into the game, the fans of the other team don't go, oh, shit, here's Keegan. Like,
yeah, I know, but that's, again, based around how the team is structured and how everybody else is incapable of scoring unless it's Chris, occasionally.
Also, Chris should start.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, what is going on with our starting lineup?
If you run Chris, Keegan, Joe T, and Rabracha, that's something. It's
at least athleticism out there.
Why couldn't the Murrays have just been quintuplets? Why can't we just have 5 of them on the court at the same time? That'd be like the ultimate athleticism lineup.
Do they have any more kids in the pipeline?
I don't know.
Also, Fran's 2-foul rule has struck twice in the past week, and it's brutal. What?
It hurts. It hurt Iowa way more for Keegan to sit for the last 12 minutes of that first half than it would have for him to enter into the second half with 3 fouls. Like, you cannot take your best player out of a game where you're down 15 points in the first half for 12 minutes because you're so stubborn about somebody getting a third foul. Like, even if so sit him for 8 minutes, bring him back in at the under 4 timeout. Like, he has to see some more time in that first half to at least try something. I get it. He wants to protect his players from foul trouble, but it hurts the team more for them to go into halftime losing by 15 to the number 6 team in the country.
Also, you come into the game, you're going balls to the walls for 8 to 10 minutes, and then you sit for the remainder of the first half and then the entire halftime. Don't you think that maybe he gets tight or sort of out of it if you're not playing for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the same shit's happened with Rabracha this year too. When he gets in foul
Rabracha
trouble,
gets fucked.
Yeah, that guy has my respect because he works fucking hard and he's undersized. Yeah. But he's terrible at free throws. I will not give that to him.
He gets no foul calls. He's terrible at free throws, but whatever. He gets no foul calls, and he gets fouls called on him for everything.
It's garbage. A lot of the calls are terrible,
Big Ten officiating in general.
So
I've been
bad.
watching a lot. I've been doing a lot of gambling on college
responsibly.
Games. Responsibly, of course. And I've been watching, ACC, SEC, whatever. Their games are so much more enjoyable to watch because the refs, there was times where I was watching, my jaw was hitting the ground that they didn't call a foul, which is fun. That's how I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, the Big Ten. I mean, we didn't even talk about the way that Iowa lost the fucking Rutgers game.
Yeah.
Those officials let both teams essentially fist fight each other for 49 minutes and 58 seconds.
And then what's the dipshit's name?
Courtney Green, who fucking blew a call against Northwestern
Michigan State.
Night before.
The day before. I was in awe about that one, too.
Called maybe the worst foul ever. It wasn't even a foul, but then he calls a touch foul in a tied game with 1.8 seconds left to send them to the line for 2 free throws. That should be fireable. The thing that pisses me off about Big Ten officiating, and just kind of officiating in general, most sports, there's no accountability to it at all. The officials can be objectively terrible. Angel Hernandez in baseball is fucking horrible, and it's agreed upon by everybody, and nothing ever happens. They never get fined, they don't get demoted or reprimanded. It's nothing. They just get to continue to be horrible at officiating the sport, which is kind of an important thing to not suck dick at.
And Angel Hernandez has no redeeming qualities either. Joe West, he's just a funny, he's terrible.
People like
terrible
Joe,
but he's hilarious. Did you see the video of him singing karaoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I bet Bo Borowski's pretty happy that Courtney Green's terrible now because people are kind of putting him on the back burner a little bit.
We don't forget, Bo. Don't forget.
That Michigan State-Northwestern game, I think Northwestern did win, but
No, they didn't.
Didn't they?
No, they lost.
Oh, yeah. The refs handed that. I don't know if you guys watched that game.
Because they picked, it was a
clean pick.
Oh,
yeah.
so clean.
And it would have been a guaranteed 2 points.
Yeah, it was a breakaway.
There wasn't any body contact at all. It was literally the guy.
Because they anticipate.
Uh-huh.
Big Ten refs anticipate.
You know what pisses me off though? I was during the Purdue Iowa game the other night. Edey missed a dunk, and I think it was Chris had hit the ball, and they didn't call the foul
until we got the rebound.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, fuck.
I think that a lot of officials. I think that's sort of what they're trained to do.
Why? If it's a foul, it's a foul. You don't wait to call
that's
it until a
bullshit.
shot is missed.
I don't agree with it, but you watch most levels of basketball, they do that.
And it's horseshit.
Except for NBA, they
if it's
call
a foul,
right away.
it's a foul. You call it. You don't wait to see the outcome.
Yeah, that's garbage. Whew. Got heated there a little bit.
That'll get the juices flowing.
Does Trent Betts from Primetime Sports Betting Network have any more questions?
Yeah, he said, "Are we a tournament team?"
I think we kind of covered that.
Briefly touch on it.
I think that we are. Yes, I just don't think that we'll make a run at all.
No, yeah. Well, this is one of the times where nobody has any expectations of us doing anything, and we just rip off 3 wins.
You're saying we make it to the Elite Eight? 3 wins in the tournament gets you to the Elite Eight.
Hey, that'd be crazy.
We haven't made it to the Sweet 16 in 2+ decades.
But you get the premise of what I'm saying.
Yeah, no expectations, so you could be the surprise team that comes in and hits a run. Yeah,
we'll be probably in that 7 to 11 seed range.
As long as we don't play a play-in game against Tennessee.
Yeah, or anybody actually.
Yeah. But so we're going to be playing a team at the level of us or below, so it should be in our favor. But me, I don't know, Jim. Let me pull up our schedule here coming up because
we got Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State.
Penn State, eat the W there. Should beat them.
Sorry, Austin's just there you go. Give him one of those.
Just boop him.
Austin's fighting my dog right now. We got at Penn State, at Ohio State, home Minnesota, at Maryland, Nebraska, Michigan State, Nebraska, Northwestern, Michigan,
Michigan State could be brutal.
Our finishing stretch is tough.
Are either of those teams at home, Michigan State or Michigan?
Both are.
Oh,
but then we have Michigan at home, second last. We end with at Michigan, at Illinois.
Oof.
Oh.
Nothing like going.
Hopefully, we're not on the
nothing like going into tournament time on just an absolute downhill slide.
So they just scheduled the February fade this year.
This one was by design.
But looking at we got Penn State, Minnesota, Maryland, Nebraska, Northwestern. That's 6 games.
Play Nebraska back to back.
No, those are we play them twice left. So that's 6 games. Hypothetically,
22.
We should
20 wins.
Puts us at 20.
20 wins gets you into the tournament.
And Michigan, are they still struggling a little bit?
They got rolled by Michigan.
They're
State
10-8 right now.
Michigan, they don't really have anybody on there. Dickinson is. What happened to him?
Well, let's check out.
He's been the games I've watched at least. He's been pretty dog shit. But
he's averaging 17 points and 8 rebounds. So it's.
But I mean, wasn't he doing that last year?
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't say that that's dog shit though.
I thought he was supposed to go to the draft last year. I thought he was that good. Anyway, he's not impressed me. I don't care what his numbers are. But Michigan State, they got Joey Hauser and I can never remember his name. Tall, lanky dude. Starts with a B. Bingham. Whatever. Those 2 guys are going to be a problem for us.
Yeah.
And as with the rest of the team, of course.
Yeah. It's a tale as old as time. Michigan State just absolutely boat racing Iowa in basketball.
Yeah. It's not going to be fun.
Although we boat raced them last year.
They sucked last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they were just strangely bad last year.
I do just not like Tom Izzo.
You know what pisses me off the most about Tom Izzo? Fran McCaffery, whether or not it's deserve it at this point, gets a bad rap for being a hothead on the sidelines and yelling at the refs and stuff, which he's really not that person anymore like he was in his first couple years in the at Iowa. Right. Tom Izzo is by far and away worse about doing that bullshit, but he's Tom Izzo, so everybody's like, oh, he's just working the refs. Look at him doing a good job being a coach. Nobody rags on him for doing the exact same bullshit because he's Tom Izzo.
The worst part about Izzo is when he gets on the ref, he'll get on the refs in the first half. It's by design almost. And they do.
They change the way that they call the game.
The second half will be different.
And Fran tries to do that too. And it almost never works.
No, it never works. I think Izzo's just been around long enough. He's grandfathered into being able to do that, and it drives me nuts. I used to respect Izzo, be a fan of him, but the last few years he's just gotten unbearable. Fran gets mad when stuff is actually you're watching. I like to think I'm pretty objective at like being like, wow, that's a terrible call for whoever I'm watching. And Fran gets mad when there's bad calls. Izzo gets mad when there's like good calls that go against him.
He's just a douche.
Yeah, I don't know. And the only respect he gets is because he won a national championship 2 decades ago. That's it.
What year?
2008? No, they played it in 2008, but they lost,
They made
right?
Final Four since then and stuff. But, yeah, it's fine.
He's just, I don't know.
I do like Michigan State basketball in general, though. I like their arena. I like the colors.
Oh, do we want to talk about arenas for a second?
They always have some good players. Sure, what?
Can we talk about what all the people on Twitter right now talking about Carver Hawkeye Arena? Anybody who says that, like, let me read a tweet from yesterday.
I must have missed this.
Oh, you haven't seen any of this? This guy tweeted, seats are there to sit in. You get up when you have something to get up for, a reaction to get something great. Act like you've been there before. Go Hawks, and remember that old money built the place. Get fucked.
Oh yeah,
Get
out of here.
Bent.
Get out of here. Believe me, I hate it when we get on like a mini run and everybody starts standing up because you just know a three's coming. But you're at a sporting event with people. Miss me with that old money bullshit. You know what? Sit at the top if you're that old. You know.
Yeah.
It's and like Carver does have a legit like fan or atmosphere problem, and it's not just because the fucking old heads with their season tickets don't want to do anything. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I think the design is poor, the student section is laid out dumb, like the fact that the concourse is only at the top, that's where the bathrooms are, the fact the parking is horrible. We play 8 p.m. weeknight games like 2 times a week. That affects attendance and atmosphere. Gary Bart is just an idiot in general, but
you're gonna complain about people getting excited at a basketball game.
Oh my god!
What are you even doing there?
And there was the picture on Twitter last week of, and I think it was an old picture, but it was a picture of an older gentleman reading a book and a grandma knitting at a game.
Yeah,
that's about right for Carver.
That must have been from the Lickliter days.
yeah. Well, there was no reason to be going to games in the Lickliter era.
My biggest thing is, everybody paid to get into that game. If as much as I would hate it if I sat there the whole game and the guy in front of me was staying the whole time, he has every right to do that.
Like, Dad, when we went down to the Indiana game for my birthday, and that was a pretty good game, and it was very entertaining. Crowd was getting into it, and there was one point I was standing, and Dad's like, Luke, sit down for the people behind you. And I'm like, no, this game is good. Like,
well,
I wasn't standing just to stand.
Right, no, and it is a two-way street. Like, be courteous, but like, I don't know.
If the team needs you, if you want to get the place loud and electric, like you see at Michigan State, Michigan, like Illinois. Illinois is an exceptional.
You can't have it both ways. You can't be complaining that Carver's dead all the time and like banging on the students for not showing up and then complain when people do. It's just
I don't know. And there, like I said, there's kind of a lot of reasons that Carver tends to not be a great atmosphere. When it is full, it can be very loud and it can be a good environment, but more often than not, it's not. And I think, like, number one change that should be made is the students need to be closer to the court. Like, there's 2 sections, like K and L or J and K or something, that go, like, all the way to the top, and that's only for, like, that's the student section. Even if you don't want to put them all the way around, like, the lower level around the court, put them right behind both hoops or right behind the bench or something. Like, a change like that right away can get, like, it'll get more students there, and, like, they are the ones that kind of create the atmosphere to get the rest of the crowd involved. So there's just, like, simple things that the athletic department could do to try and promote a better atmosphere at Carver for games, and they just choose to ignore that.
Free tickets for students.
Yeah, like, if you were a student, unless you're there, like, pretty early before the game, you're not going to get low to the court or anything, so you're going to be way up there. What's the point? I mean, there's no incentive.
Like, when I was at school there, I had season tickets all 3 years, and I would get there early, and we always sat in the lower down seats, but
not everybody could do that.
Not everybody can do that. You know. Yeah, and just, like, there's no parking around, like, the parking around Carver is god-awful. It's so bad.
It's Kinnick's parking.
The problem is there is a ton of parking. I don't know if they just have it, like, set up stupid for getting in and out or what, but like we parked in lot 43. That should not be. It should not take that long to get out of there.
It'll take like you can realistically like wait in traffic for an hour to park around Carver for an Iowa game. Yeah. That's just not acceptable. There's got to be a better way to do it.
We were coming home from Danny's house one night, and we came up Grand Avenue there by the dorms, and the traffic was backed up all the way to the roundabout by the dorms, going all the way up Melrose. Why was traffic backed up Melrose? And then it was backed up like past Finkbein the other way too.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
There's a bunch wrong with the infrastructure of the Iowa program for basketball just in general.
Carver was it was built in a bad spot, especially because, and we talk about the student section not being laid out great because it's not, but also for Carver is itself is just in a terrible spot because most of the dorms are on the east side of the river. So it's a long way to get to Carver in the middle of winter. Students don't necessarily want to walk, and then you can rely on 2 buses to get over there. I don't know. There's a lot wrong. I think it was built in a dumb spot, and it's a crazy pipe dream to even suggest that Iowa builds a new basketball arena anytime.
Well,
in the next,
even so, where? Where could they put it that would be closer? Exactly.
Tear down the IMU and build it where the IMU and Hubbard Park are.
That's interesting. Is there any space over by Big Grove, kind of?
There is where that recycling center was that burnt down. That's
like a floodplain though, and the parking down there would not be any better.
No.
Yeah.
Because you can't even park for Big Grove.
The university's buying the old Capitol Mall here in a couple years.
I saw that. So what's the plan there? All those are they just gonna buy it just to own it, or are they gonna tear?
I mean, the university occupies half of that anyway. The entire second level is owned by is rented out by the university already.
It would be pretty unfortunate because if they did just demolish and get rid of all that, because that's that's a hub for the foreign students. There's a lot of Chinese restaurants and shit like that, and
wait, where is this?
The old Capitol Mall.
Old Capitol Mall, where B-Dubs
is?
Where
B-Dubs is.
Oh, okay.
There's
all those
There's me and Joey counted one day. There's
Ichiban, all those places.
13 or 14 different Asian restaurants in there.
Mm-hmm. And
there's a sushi place, a pho
but that
place.
Parking would be bad too, right?
Well, right, because downtown parking sucks anyway.
Yeah.
There's no good solution to any of it.
Unless you cleared something on the far north side of Iowa City.
They would have to buy a city block on the east side, or a few blocks, and build a stadium, and then parking
a
ramps.
Really tall parking ramp. Yeah, it's moral of the story. It's not going to happen, and there aren't good solutions. But something should be figured out to help the atmosphere at Carver. And
honestly, what if we went to a smaller arena for a couple years while they renovated? I'm all for a smaller arena, especially for basketball, because we don't sell it out anyway. And it would make it Duke's very small. Cameron Indoor, I think it's 10,000.
Assembly Hall in Indiana is not that big either, and that place is always rocking.
Shit, we've had better atmospheres in West Dubuque's gymnasium.
Oh, I've seen some electric games.
You don't
there.
have to have honestly, I don't hate that idea. Just moving lower attendance, because you're right. It's we don't sell out anyway, so we don't have to have 15,000 whatever seats.
Yeah, and then they can renovate Carver for a couple of years. Where is there?
Go to Extreme. You can play games at Extreme.
Do they have is that a basketball?
I'm sure you could.
Up. I mean, they could.
They could put a hockey rink on there. So I'm sure.
How many seats is that? Do you know?
It's 4,500.
They could just haul Carver's floor over there, put it up.
And let's be real. It's not anyway. Right now, the basketball program is making money, because the big money maker at almost every university is the football program.
Basketball is usually still profitable, just
I know,
not to the same degree.
I know, but with the amount of tickets we sell to games, it's not like we are very profitable off of tickets sold alone anyway,
No, but media rights deals play a big part in that as well.
Yeah, but that would be interesting to see. I've never been in Iowa City West gym. What's that like?
I'd say it's similar to West Dubuque's in the sense that
it's kind of like Beckman's gym, where it's got that
second tier.
Leveled. Yeah.
I kind of like that feeling.
Honestly, I was not as impressed with West's gym as I thought I would be.
I mean, it's kind of old. Now West isn't that new. I bet you
Iowa City Liberty has a decent gym,
yeah,
and that's very new,
brand
too.
new.
I've never been to that one.
So there's options. I don't think they'll ever do it.
We're talking fantasy land right now.
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
none of what we're talking about
what
is going to
fandom's built
happen.
on. Yeah. But
I mean, the only other thing that they could do is down by the airport somewhere, or somewhere where there's a ton of land, just build a basketball arena and have constant buses, multiple buses at a time going from campus, and then just build a big ass parking lot.
that would be something. Have no parking, and then just make everybody take
I'm
the bus.
picturing Arrowhead Stadium and Kauffman Stadium, how they're just in the middle of sort of nowhere, and there's lots everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's the only. It would still not be that easy for students, but they would have ideally buses nonstop.
So there's that rail line that goes through downtown and goes south of town. Where would that go to if we just got built
out to Terry? No, where does that go?
I don't know, just built an arena out there and then just started a passenger rail, Hawkeye Express 2.0.
Yeah.
Oh, and whenever Iowa had a game on the national media, ESPN, whatever, they would have pictures of the fields. They would be coming in their pants.
No, we just need to get rich and put this into action.
Yeah.
Donate about $100 million to the university.
We're going to write a letter to Gary Barta.
Make it retractable so on
listen to
nice
your
nights they can open up.
Nice nights for basketball in the middle of January.
We have a cement court available with chain nets. Okay.
Classic.
We have a question from another friend of the podcast, John Schrader.
Oh boy.
Johnny boy.
How many beers is too many beers? I'm not sure what the reference is to get drunk or black out or...
The limit simply does not exist.
I think too many.
And you need a time period as well. I could drink 20 beers in a whole day, but
If we're talking before you're hungover the next day, let's go on that. So if on just any night, if you're say it's a Wednesday night, you got to work the next day. What is too many beers?
I don't know. It's different because I start work at 6 a.m. every morning.
I'm just saying they got to factor that in.
Okay, so too many beers on a weeknight. If I got to go to work the next day, is probably 8. That would be too many.
Okay, so I'm just basing this off of recent experience for me. Thursday night we went out for the game. I had a tall boy before I left home. I had four pints at the bar, and then one when I got back. So
imagine counting.
that's probably approaching 8 regularly sized beers, and I was dealing with a minor headache the next day. I wouldn't want to go much farther than what I did.
See, I don't get hungover as much off of beer. It's when I start mixing it with stuff. A month ago or whatever, I went to trivia night at Dimensional. Shout out Dimensional in Dubuque. And it was a Wednesday night, and I didn't think I drank that much, but the next day at work, I felt just terrible. And I would say I only had 6 beers probably, 6 or 7. But those are higher percentage in alcohol, and I was miserable.
You got to be careful with the craft.
Yeah. But I would say it's mostly mixing there. But if I started drinking at 6 o'clock at night, by 10 o'clock at night, if I wanted to be drunk, 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so too many on a weekend. I'd say once you get over 15, that's when that's when I start to feel bad about it. And that's not stopping me from doing it, but look at you Gen Zs on your phone.
Wait, I got another question from the crowd here.
Sorry, I was also looking at something from a contributor, so excuse me.
Oh, is
McGregor?
that Thoughts from Space?
Or Cecil McGregor.
Yeah, I mean it's they're short this week, but yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did send us a little something.
All right, the question we have from the crowd is from Josh Lubeck. Who is better at Fortnite, Luke or Josh? You guys can judge this.
Honestly, it's been a while since I played with Josh. But playing with Luke can get frustrating at times, if I'm being honest. Just some of the strategies that he takes. But
let's just say I'm the aggressor.
That's not always a smart thing, though.
I'd much rather have a shotgun in my hand trying to go kill somebody when there's 2 people left.
You also got to...
You got to fact. Okay, if it's
you got to make sure the team's doing that.
If we got a 4-on-1 situation, you're I'm just gonna go bum rush this guy, and then you get downed. You put the whole team in a bad situation.
Yeah, because we have numbers.
If you just run one at a time,
numbers.
though, if you just keep, you got to make sure if we're doing this, you got to communicate to the whole
everybody's
got
to go at the same time.
We're going in now.
You can't just do it by yourself.
Don't get me started on communication. Oftentimes, you guys just leave areas and don't say anything.
There's a map.
Storm is coming.
Okay, so from this perspective, if you look and there's 3 of us running ahead and you're the only one behind, whose fault is that? You have a map for a reason.
Facts.
Well, it also doesn't hurt anything to say, hey, we're leaving.
I mean, if everybody else got the message and you didn't.
Or like, we play with somebody who, late in games, well, probably 2 people, strictly only snipes.
Jake.
I was gonna say you can just say his name.
Yeah. I don't want to.
I call him on it.
I don't want to tear people down, but like that
call a
pisses
spade
me
a
off
spade.
too. That pisses me off a lot. You know, I'm out here trying to win a game, and he's sitting 200 meters away trying.
Three
to pick
people
off
are
people.
down. And he's like 200 meters away. I'll get your cards,
I'll get
guys.
your cards. No fans left.
Oh God.
So I'm gonna have to go Luke just because of recency bias. But Josh, I'd be happy to play with you sometime again.
Josh said the correct answer is neither of us. We both suck ass.
I mean, that's the obvious answer, but I thought I was forced to choose one here.
All right. We have a couple more sports to talk about here. We'll start with wrestling. Since we last recorded, Spencer Lee is out for the year. Kick right in the pecker. Who knows what his future holds. We lost to Penn State. Joey dropped his mic here because he's clearly not a wrestling aficionado. But Stin, we're not going to... It's Penn State's this year, isn't it?
They're the front runner for sure. I mean, yes, we lost that duel, but it didn't come out of that thinking that, like, there's no chance that we couldn't beat them. Like, there were 2 matches that were toss-ups that were we needed to win one of them to have a chance. Ironman and Kemmer, and they both lost in sudden victory. Like, and I don't know, like, we had opportunities to win that duel, and Penn State just was like more composed in the critical situations. But I didn't come out of that feeling that Penn State is like head and shoulders above us as a program at the moment. It's just like they were more clutch is maybe a way to put it. Like, when the cards were on the table, they showed up in the biggest moments and we didn't. But I don't know. Like, I think that if you repeat that duel 10 times, I think that, like, Penn State probably wins 6 of them. We win 4 of them. Like, I don't know. And I think it definitely hurt us that Ayala also was not, like, he was injured or, you know, there's some speculation that he's got a torn labrum. Nothing like that has been confirmed. But him not wrestling at 125 hurt us too, because I think that he could have won. So, like, that changes the dynamic of it too. So it sucked that we lost, and I mean, that was the most anticipated duel of this year, and it was a sellout, 2.5 months before the season, and the crowd was electric, and we ended up falling short. But there were positives to take on from there. Like, DeSanto lost to Roman Bravo Young, who has kind of been a thorn in his side the last couple seasons. But he was definitely the aggressor in that match. He was he was getting in on shots, he just couldn't complete them. Like, he wrestled very well. Like, same thing for Kemmer and for Ironman. Like, they lost, but they were close, and like they could have gone either way. So yeah.
Couple notes. First off, Penn State, I'm going to use this as a basketball comparison. They played like Wisconsin. They played strictly defense and rarely took shots. Like, they were not the aggressors very often until the last 30 seconds of a couple of matches, I think. And then Kemmer, he didn't change his position at all because he got awarded those 2 points there as time expired. He didn't change position at all over the last 5 seconds, and the official didn't call it.
Well, he called it, but then they reviewed and said that they called it after time had expired. So that was kind of bullshit because, like, it was the same up, for the final 4 seconds. They didn't award it until afterwards. Whatever. I'm not gonna, say that we lost because of that. Though. I mean, it's just.
But that was a big one. I mean, he fought his ass off.
Yeah, no,
he worked hard.
Big. I know Penn State. We love to hate them in the wrestling community because, as much as it's not fun to admit, they have been the top dog in college wrestling for the last decade. The last couple of years, obviously, Iowa has been exceptional, winning the national championship last year. But, like, they kind of proved why they are who they've been recently. Like, in the biggest situations, they were able to come out on top. So you have to give them credit for that, but at the same time, I didn't watch that and think that Iowa has no chance. Penn State probably is a little bit better, but Iowa could have wrestled better and won a couple more matches. So I think come tournament time, it is going to be a very competitive race between those two teams. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
We also had a couple of just piss down our legs moments. Jacob Warner, he was up 3-0 late in his match, and that slipped away. So,
Yeah.
But other wrestling note, not Iowa related. Did you see UNI upset number 3 Oklahoma State yesterday?
In Stillwater.
Yeah, well, they were down
12-0.
12-0, and came back and won like 19 to something. It was. I don't like UNI, but I mainly don't like their basketball team and their fans and Gary Rima.
Gary Rima is a douche.
Yeah, not Dennis Rima though. Dennis Rima is the GOAT.
Mr. Ghost Player himself.
Our old principal. Yeah, and then moving on here, we got women's basketball to wrap it up. They're hot. They've only lost one Big Ten game. They've won 6 or 7 in a row. Caitlin Clark has 3 triple-doubles like in the last 7 games. A quadruple-double if you count the 11 turnovers a couple games ago.
Classic Russ Westbrook fan right there.
Yeah, she's a certified baller. I think most people within the Iowa fandom probably saw the stat, but it's worth repeating. She's the first player in college basketball since Kemba Walker, 10 years ago, to have a month where she had 250 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists. That's like in all of Division I basketball, men's or women's. Caitlin Clark and Kemba Walker, the only 2 players to do that in like the last decade plus. That's crazy good. Like, she is on an entirely different tier.
She's unbelievable. Like, she makes shots, like, does moves and stuff that you only see, like, Steph Curry and Dame Lillard do. Like, step backs from, like, 6 feet beyond the three-point line.
Yeah. Like, cooking a defender, like, turning around, spot-up jumper, like, from the corner. Like, it's just unreal.
What was that stat? She's to have back-to-back 30-point triple-doubles.
It was like her, like Katie, LeBron, like Russ Wilson.
Yeah.
Not Russ Wilson. That'd be something.
Multi-sport athlete.
Yeah, it was her and like 7 NBA players are the only people to do that in the last decade or whatever.
Yeah. She drained a game winner against Northwestern in overtime the other night. 3-pointer. She's just like, it's unreal to watch her.
And I talked about this, in a podcast earlier this year. Iowa's recruiting class for like next year, maybe this, I don't know, the 2022 recruiting class had 3 signees, and all of them were ESPN top 100 recruits. So they're only going to continue getting better, and especially because, like, I don't know if it's because of the way the WNBA is set up, or just because people maybe haven't been as good, but women's college basketball players don't like leave early at all. So we have another 2 full seasons of Caitlin Clark just absolutely dashing up. Like, Gustafson left, and we thought, man, nobody's ever going to be as good as her. And Caitlin Clark is going to put up Gustafson's numbers in like 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, but we're also like, Kathleen Doyle wasn't as good, but she still won Big Ten Player of the Year while the first year Gustafson was out.
So the classic, you remember the classic video of Brittany Griner saying she would beat DeMarcus Cousins one-on-one, and then like everybody's like, bro, Brittany, no.
Gino Ariema is like, I'd put my house on it.
So what is more likely for you to happen? Brittany Griner, considering they're both in their primes, Brittany Griner beating Boogie one-on-one, or Caitlin Clark beating Steph one-on-one?
I like Caitlin Clark beating Steph, not because I think that not because Steph is bad. He's obviously like the best shooter that's ever lived. But if those two are playing a game of one-on-one, it's a lot more like finesse and 3-point shooting, as opposed to like if Boogie's playing Brittany Griner, he's just going to be fucking hammering on her the entire game, just like wearing her out. Like that's so like she would just get out physicaled, I think. And Caitlin Clark, like as long as she can hit shots, like she'd have a chance.
I might tweet that at Gino Ariema, see what he has to say.
I would be shocked if you got a response from that.
Sure. Yeah. She's just a freak. Like, think of how, like, our programs haven't done well in the postseason, but, like, think of
the women's team made it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Like, Gustafson,
Garza, won a Big Ten championship in women's basketball.
Here's my thing. So, Clark is the type of player to come in and
change a
program. Change a game. Like, on a micro level. I think that she has the capability. Like they could go on a huge tournament run just because of her.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't see that with the men's team. Like, you see what I'm saying now? Like,
I will
that?
also say that the women's team has like Megan Sonano, who led the.
She led the country in field goal percentage last season.
Yeah, and they have 3-point shooters: Gabby Marshall, Warnock. They're
they're a very good team.
And Bluter, exceptional. I'll bang on that drum all day.
Yeah, nobody's arguing.
She is phenomenal.
I don't think you're going to get an argument from anybody that she's not a good coach.
All right, power rank. Men's basketball, football, women's basketball, wrestling coaches. Go. I think fourth. I'm going to put Fran.
You got to go one wrestling. I feel.
I mean, they won a national championship last year.
I'm just basing it on success, not on the people.
I'm putting 4 Fran.
I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm gonna go 1 wrestling, 2 football, 3 women's basketball, 4 men's basketball.
See, I'd argue women's basketball ahead of Kirk. I'd argue Bluter ahead of Kirk.
You can't though. Like the staff as a whole. Look at it's been how many years with Kirk that they've just been rock solid.
So the women have made the NCAA tournament fairly consistently over
it's just I don't know. It's really difficult to compare like. It's easy to put wrestling at 1 because they've won a national championship recently. Like you can't argue with that type of success. But then after that, it's really difficult to like argue success in basketball and football.
I mean, so the argument for Fran, look what he's done with the program in 10 years. They were literal dog shit.
Lickliter.
No,
us three could have started under Lickliter. And
we would have schooled John Lickliter.
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I went to the Purdue game on Thursday with a guy that I work with, and he was trying to tell me that Little Lick was better than Connor McCaffery.
Not true.
Maybe shooting.
I think that's one of those instances where you can't tell if he's joking or not.
No, I think he was being serious.
No.
Should we look up stats?
Dude, he was terrible.
I'm pulling up stats.
So he didn't even play big minutes under.
God, there's just that one classic picture of him wearing the baggiest shorts of all time, trying to go around that huge guy. I think it was a Purdue defender or whatever, and just getting absolutely
easily a foot shorter than that guy. All right,
classic.
John Lickliter stats: only played 1 year of college basketball.
What seemed like forever?
It feels like he played for more than one season.
Okay, he played 21 games.
Too many.
30% field goal shooter.
Ooh, brutal.
Yikes.
I bet Connor's numbers are better than that.
He averaged 2 points a game. Okay, Connor's probably got this guy.
Just go on field goal percentage.
Oof.
Connor's better, dude.
This year, what is Connor shooting?
Oh, well, this year. I mean, just do overall.
Oh, okay.
Go for career.
Okay, he edges him out. He's at 33%.
Okay.
For his career.
Okay, in Connor's defense, he does way more than Little Lick. He Connor's at assist to turnover ratio for a year.
Connor's value to the team is not in points scored.
Let's okay. So
this is not even a conversation.
Name a statistic, and I'll just look.
Rebounding.
Total rebounds. Connor 2.7.
There's no way Lickliter had 2.7 rebounds in his career.
0.3.
Yeah. So he literally might have had 2.7 rebounds in his career.
This guy was terrible.
Also, okay, in defense of Little Lick, 1, he had no business being on that team.
Yeah.
And 2, I mean, he played we were just that bad that he had to play. Sometimes.
Tried anyway.
I'm not here to reg.
Did he try?
Was he a walk on?
Oh,
had to be.
I don't know. I mean, when your dad's the coach,
it'd be fair to compare Little Lick to Austin Ash or something like that. Not fucking starters for a tournament team.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. 83% free throw shooter though.
Well, no, duh. If he's missing free throws, he never made it on the high school team.
He shot 6 total free throws in his career. He made 5. He fucking trigger with the 3-point though. 35 attempts.
How many did he make?
Yeah,
10.
Oh, that's.
And he only attempted 5 2-pointers.
How? So what? He shot 40 times in his entire career?
Yeah, and 5 of them were 2s.
I remember his playing days much differently than these stats suggest they were.
He put up 40 shots. That's nuts. Okay. Do we have anything else we would like to talk about? Otherwise, we can wrap up this episode.
We have a short thoughts from space.
Oh, shoot. Better get that in.
Okay. I would like to pour one out for Bob Saget. It's
Betty White.
Betty White. We've lost some good ones. There was one more
Yeah, there
notable one
was.
in there since we've recorded last.
Was it like a actor or like somebody that wrote a cartoon?
I don't know.
I can't remember. While Austin's doing thoughts from space, I'll
what?
think.
Yeah, I'm gonna look.
All right. This is this week's thoughts from space. They're pretty short, so, which is kind of sad because, Space Cowboys had plenty of time to think of something,
Well,
He's a dad
also,
now.
yeah, he's a father now,
That
so.
is true. Whatever. Babies just sleep most of the time when they're newborn. Come at me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
They just sleep in
Meatloaf.
between shitting all over the place and crying.
Meatloaf.
Oh, Meatloaf. How could we forget?
Okay. Anyway, this week's thoughts from space. How about that Royal Rumble last night? Brock Lesnar comes back after a rough start to the night. I can already see the writing on the wall as he becomes the next WWE champion, and Gable Steveson comes for him after the NCAAs. That's all I got, unless you say Scott Frost is still a fucking... Nope, not doing that. Nope. You almost got me there.
Scott Frost is still a fucking poopy brain.
Yeah, and Brian Ferentz
Jeez.
plays Scrabble for fun.
You almost said it.
Yeah, he almost did.
I didn't proofread it first. I was just going through.
Okay. Anything else?
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, it's been a while, but it's good to be back. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Hawkeye Tailgate Report. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. You can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The Twitter and Instagram is HTR_pod. You can follow all three of us on Twitter. Mine is Myers_Luke. Joey's is JoeMama2196. And Stin's is Myers Austin. Thanks for listening, everybody, and go Hawks.
And fuck Nebraska. And buy the dip.